y'all, it's Jessica with Keepers of the Old Ways, and today I thought I would give you a garden tour update on what the garden's looking like and maybe kind of give you a plan on what we're thinking and some changes that we may be making. So y'all come along with me. And I'm actually standing out here under the holly tree, which is right where the onion garden is. So I'll spin you around and then let you see what it's looking like. They're still kind of small, which is okay. They made it through the frost. Let's see. And the kids actually just went in and raked a ton of leaves up. So we're gonna come put some more leaves and actually cover this whole garden. And this is the garlic. So let's see if you can see. And some of our garlic didn't take. This is just garlic I ordered from Azure Standard, some organic garlic, and I used it as seed to plant. And we'll see what comes out of it, but most of it come up. We're a little late trying to get it in the ground. We had it for a while and a bunch was going on, so it took us a while to get it in here. But I'm excited to see if just buying regular organic garlic from Azure and not having to order from a seed company works well for us. Here's the onions. This used to be where the chickens were last year, but we've planted in here so much and our soil is so sandy. Like, we need to really feed the soil. And then right here is where we had the green beans over the fall. And this is 2 rows of cattle panels we have up. We're gonna put tomatoes back here in the spring. So we're gonna start getting that ready as well. And then here is where our food forest and our garden kind of starts. This is taters. What is this one? Let's see if you can see that. It is a pineapple pear. It's not wanting to zoom in on it, but this is his pineapple pear. It made it through the frost, and then I think he has another pineapple pear on the end right there, and I'm not sure what this one is that he planted. This is where we had the sun hemp that you've seen him using the scythe on, and the front part we already had. This part was just the sun hemp, and we extended the garden. That's where more sun hemp was, and this is where we're gonna put the potatoes at. So we just got a 50-pound bag of seed potato, and this whole plot right here that you see cleared will be seed potatoes, and we'll extend it down almost to the first tree that's down there. But this is our spring garden. We planted it actually over the winter, and we've made it through the winter, and it will be ready for us to harvest in the spring. So we'll get ready to start planting a second crop. But this is the broccoli, and this is a whole over 100-foot row of broccoli. And then this one is Chinese cabbage, I think is what it was, or maybe it was the bok choy, but we did short rows of it and then come in behind it and planted red mustards and some red cabbage. The red cabbage is in a super sandy spot, and it's so tiny, like you can't even hardly see it. But we've got to come in and weed. The weeds are starting to take over around these tiny little plants. There's one right there. And it's a small row, so we just have a few of those. I'll probably pick them up, transplant the big ones together, and then come in and just fill in with something else. And then the rest of this is just cabbage. And I can see that I have a chicken that's been in here. So it goes cabbage all the way down. The red mustards all the way down. And then we're fixing to put leaves in here. We like mustards, if y'all can tell. It's one of our favorite things to eat. So this is over 100 feet long and I think over 60 feet wide. This row and this row is kale. So this is all turnips all the way down. And you can tell we've had some leaves in here already, but we're gonna have to put a ton more. Like the leaves was really just up against around the plants, and now we want to cover the whole garden. The rows change throughout the season, and so we need to really just feed all of the soil. So this is kale. We have the curly leaf kale. That's looking real good. And then after the curly leaf kale, we come down and we have a few of the lacinato kale. We didn't plant a whole lot of them, just a little bit to add to the salad. And then we have a huge gap where the chickens and dogs were. More turnips going all the way down. And then we have some Swiss chard down here towards the end. It's looking pretty good. Look at those chard coming up really nice. They were super tiny when we got them in the ground. So they're starting to look real good and come on out and produce. And then we have some collards over here on this row. So this whole row all the way down to the other end is nothing but collards. And then we do have a few more in between the chard and the kale, a few more broccoli and cauliflower plants that we popped in down this row right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows and a row with a little bit of beets. Let me see if I can get over and show you where the beets are and not step on anything. And then we have a small row with some beets. And we've got to get in here and weed. The grass is starting to come up. And I'll probably come through and thin some of these, transplant them and space them out. But it goes. Now you can tell the sun. I choose right in the middle of the day when the sun is so bright to get out here and record. That doesn't help y'all be able to see anything. Look at those beets. So this is our front garden. This is where the potatoes will go. So potatoes, our food forest, and fruit trees starting out. We're kind of mixing it all in. We have some plums, some apples, and some peaches right through here. If you see disc flying, that's my youngest practicing disc golf at the moment. So there's our 100-foot garden with the kale, the mustards, the collards, the broccoli, the chard, the beets. And then right behind it, you see the cattle panels. That's where the onions are. And so then we'll walk back through the garden and I'll show you what the grocery row garden's looking like. So our grocery row garden is really our hardest one that we have to maintain and keep up because it's in our backyard. Our backyard kind of floods, and so we're still trying to figure that out and get the drainage problem resolved. Back here is another area where we've started like a little orchard. There's some small blueberry bushes we transplanted last year. And then we have a citrus or two back here. There's a sheet where we had it covered for the frost, trying to save it, and around at the base with a feed bag. And there's another orange. And then, let's see. This is a persimmon, a Japanese persimmon. That is a pomegranate. Right here is a pomegranate. This one is a mulberry. And then we have a few pawpaws and a fig and another blueberry over there. The fig is the one that you see. Right there's the fig, right there's the blueberry, and then there's 2 pawpaws and the 2 bananas right there. And then this jungle of a mess you see right here is the muscadines. So when we moved here, the muscadines were so far gone that we didn't even try to mess with them, and we decided to wait till this year to come in and try to clean this out once everything was dead and the sap was down. So this is something that we want to accomplish this year, is to clean this up and get our muscadines going again. We love to make muscadine wine and muscadine jelly, and there are a ton of health benefits from muscadines. They're very high in antioxidants. So we want to get this cleaned up and fixed, so y'all stay tuned for a video for that. And let's see, that's what it looks like. Let me back that out, you can see. And then this is where December and April and some of the pigs, the mama pigs, are. You get a little bit of an idea of where we're at. This is the back of our house. And then here is the grocery row garden. That is an apple tree, and y'all, the apple tree has already got life back in it. Look at that, isn't that exciting? So this is the grocery row garden. We need to come in where it had been underwater for so long. It washed the beds down. They were built up a good 2 foot. And so they're kind of washed out now, as you can see. So we'll have to come in and start raking the dirt back up to build the beds back up. There's not a whole lot going in here right now. I think that's some amaryllis that I planted in here coming up, or I don't even remember. It got planted last spring. This is a fig, and then this had yams all winter on it that's died back. They're first year yams, so we'll leave them, let them stay another year, and then we'll dig them up. The blackberry is still alive, and so I think we're gonna do something a little different with the blackberry and put some runners straight up and run straight down above the top of this garden in the beds, and not try to trellis them on the hoop. And so this is what it's looking like. The elderberry made it all the way through the winter. It's looking great. Can you see how tall that thing is now? And it's got some babies off of it, so we're gonna dig those up. Let's see if you can see that. We're gonna dig this up and transplant it. And then the olive is looking really good right here. It made it through. Let me get my shadow out so you can see. And all of the mullein is coming back already. And then we have a blueberry here. We have, that was a hibiscus. It's time to clean up that we harvested. That is taro that we had in here. And then this is a fig. Right there is a fig tree. Then there is more taro. And then more taro right there. This is an olive coming back. It's not as beautiful as the other one. Let's see if I can get you a better look at it maybe. And then this one is mulberry, I believe, is what he has right here. I can't remember what he had right there. This one for sure is a mulberry. and it was looking beautiful. And then the goats got out and he had it grafted, and you can see it's scarred from where they broke one of the branches. This is what the grocery row garden's looking like right now. Dead and pitiful, but it's fixing to come back to life. We're fixing to put some plants in here. And then this, if I spin around, was the back half of the grocery row. You can see we've got a little pile where we've been cleaning up. We need to burn. It's been so windy. It was completely underwater, the whole entire thing. So we decided to retire it as a grocery row. We're gonna put water-loving trees and plants in here. So we have a willow that we hope made. Y'all seen us plant that. Here's the willow tree, looking a little scraggly. I don't know if you can see that. And then this is a mulberry that he transplanted over here. And then we did plant a few tiny elderberries. Was it elder? Yeah. But I don't think they made it through the frost. They were so tiny. I don't see them anywhere on the ground where we transplanted them. So we'll have to get some, maybe we'll take one of those from up there. But one thing that you're going to see is we're going to plant a huge orchard of Roselle hibiscus. So we have plenty of that and can start offering seed for sale on the Roselle. But I'm curious, what are you planting in your garden? What type of methods are you using in your garden to plant? Are you doing a grocery row garden? Are you raised beds? Are you doing row cropping? Do you use the Back to Eden method with, I'm walking back up front to the shade. Do you use the Back to Eden method? I'm gonna spin you around. Do you use the Back to Eden method with the wood chips? What do you do? How do you plant? And what are some of your favorite varieties that you plant? I like to try new varieties. I can overwhelm Tater with all the different varieties, especially when it comes to tomatoes. I am a tomato geek. I love tomatoes. That's one of my favorite things. Salsa is my go-to. Chips and salsa is my weakness. 10 o'clock at night, I'm wanting to have chips and salsa. So what do you do for fertilizing? Are you a permaculture garden type of person? And if so, what do you use to build your soil? I love to hear different ideas and methods. Sometimes I can get stuck on just one, and it can kind of get overwhelming when you use a method and then you don't really have the resources for that method anymore. My Back to Eden garden was amazing, but wood chips is hard to get my hands on now. So please give me ideas and suggestions that you have, and it may help someone else that watches the video and reads the comments. So that's what's going on in our gardens right now. Not a whole lot. We've got the one garden that's looking really good, and the onions and garlic. But other than that, everything's still kind of dead and bare. We're fixing to get potatoes in on February 14th and start building that grocery row garden back up. Maybe put some more bushes and things like that in there. But until next time, y'all, get outside and live like your ancestors did.